Quick context on what we're protecting. The leverage staking loop is one of the most popular DeFi strategies right now. What you do is you stake your ETH in Lido, for instance, and what you get in return is WST ETH. Now, with that, you go ahead and you supply that to the Aave v3 lending protocol, and you borrow ETH against it. Then what you do with that ETH that you've just borrowed is you go back to Lido, stake it, receive WST ETH, and then go back to Aave, and you kind of continue that process. Now, each loop goes ahead and amplifies your staking yield. So instead of maybe getting 3.5% yield on your staked ETH, you're earning 6%, even at times 8%. Sounds great. But your health factor gets tighter with each loop. And if the STETH to ETH rate slips, or if ETH moves against you, liquidation will likely happen pretty quickly. So the difference between catching, catching at 1.3 versus, 1.05 or something like that can be huge. And that's what this workflow here does. So let's just scroll down to it. This here monitors a position every 15 minutes. And what it does is it alerts you when the health factor drops below 1.5. And if it hits 1.2, it doesn't just tell you, it will also repay the debt. So let's make sure that we walk through this workflow in KeeperHub and showcase how you can build it so that you can protect your yield in your assets going forward. All right, here's a workflow built out in KeeperHub. 13 nodes from the looks of it, and it might look like a lot, but it's actually pretty simple. And let me show you how or why. The trigger here runs every 15 minutes. Let me open up the properties. You could go tighter, and let's say you wanted to run every 5 minutes if you're running a more aggressive position. That's entirely up to you. Now, let me zoom in here, but the first two nodes here, well, the first two action nodes are read nodes, and they're native Aave nodes that we have available. The first one is account health. This calls Aave's get user accounts data, and this gives us the health factor. So the total collateral, it gives us total debt, available borrows, and then we go into the second Aave node, and this will then give us the WST ETH reserve data. And what I mean by that, it will tell you how much you've supplied, your variable debt, and also the current supply APY. So both of these are read-only. No wallet is needed. It just needs your address to make sure. So make sure that you actually go in, and you can see on both of these here on the right, I've just put in a bunch of numbers. This is where you want to put your address in. Okay, so if we then move on, this is where it gets interesting. We have this code node in place. And this code node takes the data from both feeds from the two previous Aave nodes, and it then does the math. It converts everything from raw blockchain values into human readable numbers. So health factor will be taken, collateral from Aave's base, units, debt, borrows, etc., etc. It also then pulls a supply APY, so you can see what position you're actually earning. And then it classifies it into 3 levels. It will classify into healthy, which is above 1.5, which is great. Then it'll classify into kind of a pre-warning situation, which is between 1.2 and 1.5. And then, of course, as mentioned also in the Excalibur diagram, the critical warning is below 1.2. So here's a key part. What will happen is it also pre-calculates the repay amount. So 20% of your total debt is in way. What that means is that number gets passed downstream to the Auto-Repay node. So when the position hits critical, hopefully it doesn't, but if it were to do, the workflow already knows exactly how much to repay, so no extra recalls will actually be needed, being able to then make sure that you actually close your position as quickly as possible. Now, we have this condition here, which is comparing, true versus false. If you are at risk, so if it's below well, if it's, let's start actually, if it's above 1.5, we'll simply send a Discord notification and an email. Could also be a Telegram, could be a Slack message, it could be a webhook that you want to send out. And we'll give you an update on, you know, your position and say that it's healthy. And you could even include the supply APY, the timestamp, so you kind of have an audit trail of it. And if it's not healthy, so returns true, we'll also send a Discord alert. In this case, we'll actually make sure then we say that your Aave position is at risk, but we're not taking any action yet. So we're just notifying the user. You can, of course, change this if you want to take action already now. We'll also email the user. But then the biggest thing here is if, as this runs again and again, and then let's say it does go even below 1.2 and hits this critical stage, then we actually want to go into the Auto-Repay ETH debt node. And this will repay 20% of the ETH variable debt to restore your health factor again. And you'll receive a Discord notification with that overview of what has happened, the previous position, and then also kind of a result of the summary. So 2 things to note here. The repay node requires this one here, your wallet integration connected in KeeperHub. This is a real on-chain transaction, so it's a write node. So make sure you've set that up. And the 20% is configurable in the node, in the code node right here. So that's entirely up to you. If you want a more aggressive protection, bump it up to 30 or 40. If you want to be more conservative with it, you can drop it down to 10. Again, entirely up to you. And one more thing, this works alongside your other staking monitors we've built. So you could also have, you know, well, we've got a LIDAR rate monitor watching your STETH, DPEGs, a Rocket Pool collateral monitor tracking, ETH backing. So you can also have a comparison workflow between the two, telling you which protocol has a better rate right now. So there's a lot of ways that you can kind of combine with this with other DeFi protocols, DeFi workflows to really kind of get the most out of your yield at the same time also protecting it. Cool. Well, this, you know, that's it really. If I zoom out again, you have this workflow available. This will run every 15 minutes and protect your positions, you know, no matter what time it is or day it is. I will make this this workflow available in our hub. The hub is our sort of public environment where you can have either community-driven workflows shared among users or workflows that we're also sharing. You can see specifically for Aave, you can click on them and you can see the Aave native nodes and workflows specific to Aave. But you can also at any time search for the templates here to find the ones that you're most interested in. So let's say you're interested in yield and you could tag yield and you can see the workflows associated with yield available. So I'll make sure to add this workflow here for Aave in the coming days. It's called Aave v3 WST ETH Position Health Monitor. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out directly to us on keeperhub.com. You can also write a comment on the YouTube video or wherever you've seen this, and we'll always make sure to get back to you. And until next time, thank you very much for listening, and I hope this was useful.